Hello and welcome everyone to the Late Winner Show podcast. I'd like to welcome Kojo and Ollie, Kunal, and Rishabh for joining us. Obviously, so we have four United fans over here, and just to keep things balanced out a little bit, even though it's a little bit out of proportion, but still, let's start. Obviously, how excited are you guys right now? I mean, it's 7 days to go. I mean, the countdown is officially begun to the Premier League season. We are like just 5 days away now. So, how excited are you guys for the season?
Yeah, well, it's great because, obviously we're looking forward to the new season. There's a lot to look forward to, really. You got Raphael Varane, who's just a new signing, Jadon Sancho, who United have been, obsessed with for years now, really. Like, we've always had him on our radar, finally signed. Starting to build a proper, nice team. The foundations of, a team that is solid, and it's quite different to when say like 3 years ago when we had Mourinho and a lot of different things were going on. It's such a different atmosphere now. I was lucky enough to go to Old Trafford yesterday to watch the 4-0 against Everton in the final pre-season game before
Yeah.
the Leeds match, and it was a great match. We just looked like sharp, and even I was quite close to the pitch, and even at the start, when all the players are warming up, so much bright energy. Everyone, they look like they're getting on. The manager, they're all building such a good bond, and the result was great as well, and we just look sharp. I can't wait to get the other players in as well,
Yep.
and it looks really good. So I'm excited, 100%.
So yeah, I mean, you brought up Varane and Sancho, obviously. Kojo, what do you think? What improvements will they bring to the United season this far? I mean, you were pretty close. You finally got into the top two again. Obviously not above City, but still you're pretty close to getting to the title. I believe. I mean, you've had a pretty good season last time. I mean, around.
And it was okay. It was an alright season. It was alright. It was alright. I'm not gonna say it was pretty good. I think it was alright. I finished second place,
Yeah.
one place above where we were the season before, so still in the top four, back in the Champions League. I'm still quite frustrated about the final loss, but the signings that we made. Firstly, I think every United fan has been screaming for someone to play on the right wing for far too long because I
Yeah.
think Antonio Valencia was the last one that had a decent spot as a right winger when he was whipping balls in for really to head in all day long. And maybe Nani as well. But other than
Yeah.
that, we've had Mata go there, we've had Di Maria go there for a spell. Pogba played there for one game against Liverpool. It's just been a mess. So Sancho coming in is a big deal. It's a very big deal in my opinion. He is more suited on the left, but he can play on the right very well. And Raphael Varane, look, United fans have been very 50-50 about Lindelof. I like him to an extent. I know some people don't like him as well.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I can't
But he's
lie.
shaking his head.
Yeah,
Feeding him.
yeah,
Eric Bailly, a lot of people love him, but he is most of the time unavailable. He's always injured. You can't rely upon him to be your defender or a partner with Maguire on a consistent basis. Twanzebe, who I'm going to say right now is I'm happy he's out on loan because I'm not being
Yeah.
convinced by him. And Phil Jones just really just can't play football right now. If we're being honest, he can't. So good signings. Happy with the players so far. But I still feel like we need one or two more. But so far, it's been a good window, so I can't really complain.
So
yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
do you have any do you guys have any targets in mind right now? Like which trends do you want to improve? Like, do you want to improve in the defensive side right now, or in the
Yeah.
midfield?
A right winger and a defensive midfielder for me.
Okay.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
I'd say we just need like a CDM really. Like, I feel like that's really important now. I feel like we've got the right winger, we've got the centre back, and I feel like those that were at first maybe quite a weakness, now it's quite strong because we've got quite a nice defence, and even with the backups of all those positions, bar the right back, United look quite solid in depth, and it's the same with attack. Like, you could play Sancho across any of those attacking positions, and it's the same with Rashford. It's the same with Martial to an extent. Like, it's very fluid and it's very good. And you got Greenwood, who's obviously still very young, Ahmad, who's still very young. and there's going to be a lot of opportunities, I bet, for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like something that we just need to get onto now is a CDM, like a, I don't like using the CDM. It's more just like a person that just, sits back right below the defense, and is a bit more disciplined as well, because, you get players that can do that and defend, but sometimes, like for example, Scott McTominay is a good example. He does like to attack, and I don't feel like that's his strongest position. Sitting back and behind the defense. Matic, he'd be a good, a good position of a good player, a good example of what we need if he was just, in his prime, a bit more younger. Like, he's too old now. His legs are obviously gone, and it's just, it's a bit of a struggle. Yeah, that's what I think personally.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Kunal, but just a couple of points here. Even I feel like I think we do need a central defensive midfielder, even with McFred, and the kind of job that they did last season. I think they were great, but I think we still do need an upgrade on that position. Also, Van Bissaka, he is probably one of the best in defend, like in one-on-one defending, but I think he still lacks a lot more creativity when he goes forward. So I do still think that like the rumor target is Kieran Trippier. If we can get him, I think that'd be a great addition, just because of the way he goes front. And with the, even if you see the league titles that have been won in the last 3 of the 4 years, 198 and 99, I think I think you need goals in your team. I don't think you can go and win, 1-0s or 2-1s every other game and expect to win the title. I think United need goals, and they have goals in their team, but I think they still lack a little bit of here and there to make sure that they challenge for the. To win the title. I'm pretty sure they're going to challenge for the title this season. Not sure about if they're going to win it.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but just a little question for you. Would Trippier really, improve Manchester United? Like, obviously he's a great player, and, in the Euros, he had a solid Euros. He wasn't too bad, wasn't too good. He was just, solid. But for me, like, Wan-Bissaka, he's still got a lot to learn. I don't doubt that, but he's only like, what, 21, 22, and he is really promising player. He's already, like, arguably one of the best defensive right backs in the world, if not the best. And, he's only improving. I feel like each season you do see a better Wan-Bissaka. He's a bit more better with the ball. He's a bit more, more attacking minded. And I feel like slowly but surely he will become that player. But I do agree he needs a little backup, someone that can rotate with him and a little plan B. But Dalot, I feel like Dalot is a good option. It's just, is he willing to stay? Because he's obviously a young player too. Is he willing to stay and, sit on the bench for Manchester United? I don't know. I don't see it personally.
I mean, I think you'll see a lot more from Van Bissaka this season, because obviously for the longest time we've not had a proper right winger. Obviously, and Greenwood has been playing as a winger, but he's actually a striker. Like Ole wants to define him as a striker, and he slowly wants to integrate him into the team as a striker. So I feel like you'll see a lot more from Van Bissaka now that he has a proper out and out right winger in the name of Sancho. I think you'll see a lot more from him. Obviously, I'm not sure if we are going to go for Trippier, or we are okay for one more season just to see how much Van Bissaka can offer on the other side of the pitch.
I think when it comes to Wan-Bissaka, the issue is football fans have very little patience these days, and especially with youngsters. I think when Man United obviously were in their very successful years, we had a lot of young players coming through, but because we had so much experience within the team that have players that had won things, those young players were able to come through and have less pressure on them. Wan-Bissaka was bought for a big fee, and when you come with that big fee, comes with big hope. You're going to hope from the fans that you can hit the ground running. And
he's got the spotlight.
Exactly. And I do agree. One-on-one defensively, he is the best. I still do have some questions about him defensively in terms of his positioning every now and then and sort of reading of the game. But you're right, he's young. Technically, we talk about players not hitting their prime years until 27 and plus. You don't really hit your prime until 27. So there should be a level of patience. But when you play for a big team and fans that have very small patience, that's where it's come from. I think that's where Trippier would help a little bit. He's gone to Atletico Madrid. He's improved substantially as a defender. Obviously, good going forward because he has a good right foot, whipping balls in, good at set pieces with deliveries. I think having that experience added is not a bad thing. I think it takes a little bit less pressure. It takes more pressure off Wan-Bissaka is what I meant to say. And it's someone that's now won things. He has experience of winning a league that is normally dominated by the other two. So the fact that he's been in a team that dominates, that's won the league, a team that's got a good manager in Simeone, who is a lot more pragmatic than maybe an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or anybody else you want to mention. It wouldn't be a bad addition. But Wan-Bissaka, if I'm being honest, the way big teams move and the way Man United have been moving since 2013, if he doesn't up his game in the next 2 years, United will be looking for someone to take that berth full time, and that's just the pressure of what it is.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with Kojo completely with the how Wan-Bissaka, football is so reactive nowadays. How any little slip up or I feel like social media plays a big part into that too, especially the social media that we live on, where it's like we're very football invested, and anyone can have their opinion, anyone can tweet anything they want, and it's you do get a lot of nonsense, a lot of truth, and it's just like that's the end of the day. That's what football is, opinions. Most of the times it's opinions, but I feel like if you're Solskjaer and you're looking at that squad and you see Trippier apparently valued at like what 30-40 million dollars, euros, I don't know, but something like that. It's a lot of money that can be put on to somewhere that's a lot more useful in the sense, because you look at right back. Come on, United. I look at that whole United squad. Right back is probably like what? It's not a priority at all. I think at the moment we're pretty comfortable there. We've got a young player who's solid, proven against big players. Doesn't really slip up. With Varane now as well, who he'll find it easier. He can obviously learn a lot off him. And it's just why I feel like I stand by my words. CDM is what we need to get United fully, challenging for a title.
I think a CDM like Michael Carrick in his prime 100%. Would have been perfect, or Fernandinho for City, Busquets for Barca. These
someone that just
these are the players you need at the back.
Doesn't mind sitting back, not attacking, just
holding the defensive line together.
So N'Golo Kante for me would be the perfect player to go for. And as difficult it might be to strike a deal with Chelsea, United should pursue him nonetheless. He has just a few years left on his contract, and for the right price, Chelsea might be willing to sell him. If N'Golo Kante is looking forward to joining United. With Varane here, with Pogba, if he signs a contract extension, you never know. It's highly unlikely, but that's the kind of player you need to go for.
Roman doesn't have any problem selling it to our rivals. We've sold Marta and Matis to you guys in the past, so we can sell you Kante also in the future.
But he's levels ahead of Marta and Matic in that sense.
The thing is,
I'm just saying that we do not have problem selling to you guys. So as long as the price is right, we'll sell it to you.
It's Kante CDM though. It's Kante CDM.
He's not someone that sits either. He chases everything.
Yeah.
So even that one I'd worry about. But I say this, I genuinely don't have a name. I don't have anyone.
That's true. Yeah.
I have one, but it just doesn't look possible yet, I think, personally. And Didi from Leicester.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a good shout. He's proven. He's probably hitting his prime.
Do you guys have enough funds to actually spend in this transfer window? Or are you going to say you'll probably get CDM in the next?
I think so.
If we need to sell players, I think if Lingard goes ahead with his transfer to West Ham or wherever, or Everton, probably Diego Dallo has been linked with AC Milan, if I'm not wrong. So if these two players leave, then we'll get enough funds to spend about 40 million, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, true. It's just, I don't think you're getting Ndidi for 40 million. I feel like you see how these Premier League clubs move with their pricings, and, it's because players are valuable, especially someone like Ndidi. He makes that Leicester team. But with Samori coming into Leicester, who's a promising CDM who can replace him in a couple of years, I feel like it is definitely possible for Manchester United or any other club really to go for Ndidi eventually. It's just this season I don't see it. I feel like it'll be
I feel like Ndidi is not the option at this moment, just because now that Fofana has got injured, I don't see Leicester selling him. I feel like there's a hole in their backline as well now.
Yeah, I mean, now let's move to talking about contracts right now. I mean, Ole recently signed a contract, and you were talking about we live in the social media age where everybody's so impatient right now. And now that actually Ole has his transfer targets, even though last year by the time of December, I mean, everybody was saying like Ole needs to go out. There were talks about it, even though a lot of the United fans never said that they want Ole to be gone out. But there were rumors flying around that Ole is not going to deliver and he should be sacked. But now that he actually has his transfer targets, do you see him being under more pressure this season? Kunal, do you want to chime in?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with the Premier League being so unpredictable, only time will tell whether he's the right man for the job or not. Since he has taken over United from Mourinho, there have been a lot of positives to take. He has been rebuilding United in a wonderful manner. He is consistently changing. The squad. His recruitment has been spot on. He's playing football that's attractive in the eyes of the fans and whatnot. Uh, Winning the Premier League title is one of the most difficult challenges any manager can take on, and some even argue that it is easier to win the Champions League as compared to the Premier League. Keeping in mind that Pep's City are always favourites to win any trophy there is to win. Same can be said about Klopp this year. Tuchel's Chelsea is showing that they're going to challenge for the title again. So it's difficult to say that he's going to win the league. Even challenging for the title is going to be harder than last season. But I would say he has done a terrific job till now. And the way the club has been progressing, I can generally see United winning the league under him in the next 2 or 3 years. That being said, it's not entirely on Ole. The players need to back up Ole, and they need to step up and deliver as well. I don't see any other manager who would bring such a drastic change immediately. Probably Antonio Conte, but that will be a different style of play altogether. So it's kind of tricky. You can't pinpoint and say whether Ole can deliver this year or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when you see Ole, like you see, like there's a when you what you know about United and the way that Ferguson played. I feel like there's some sense of stability that he's brought to the club in the last 2 seasons, because it was shambolic like under Mourinho, and that appointment like really disappointed me when he came to United. Like I wasn't interested in watching any of the games when he was there. So because he's just I just don't like him as a manager. Like as I mean, as a manager he's okay, but like as a United manager I would never have wanted him. Talking about Ole, I think there's a lot of talk about going about Ole, like saying that is he the right man or not. But like if you see the stability, if you see the things that he's brought into the club, the players that he's brought into the club, I think you can safely say that he's probably the best manager that we've had since Ferguson retired. He's done his mistakes, I think, under in the last week in last season's Champions League as well, like against PSG, when he left Fred on, and then against obviously Leicester in the FA Cup. Like when he just made a second string team play in the quarterfinals of that stage, he's made his mistakes. So obviously, why is he not allowed to make mistakes when as a Premier League sporting director said, like you give the time to a young player to develop, but you don't give the time to to a manager to develop. So why not we give them that time? And as I don't know how many of you guys follow Mr. Craig Burley, but he famously says every time that he's not a fan of he's not a fan of Ole, and why is he at the club? Why even United gave him the new contract, because nobody was after him. But you see, like he regularly watches under 18s, he regularly watches under 23 strain. You see that this is what you want from a manager. Like as Kunal pointed out, I am very happy with Ole being at the job, and I sincerely feel, obviously it's not only up to him that he's bringing in the transfers. Obviously the appointment of John Murtaugh and Darren Fletcher as our technical director, I think that's definitely helped. And in a long time, I've been at least happy getting the signings way before the season started and going into the season saying that we have a team that can probably challenge for the title.
Yeah.
I want to be fair with the other managers from before. I think with Mourinho, obviously, like I'm going to be very honest here. I wanted Mourinho because at that point in time, I was very desperate for trophies. Like I wanted something. And when he brought the Europa League and League Cup, I'm not gonna lie to you, I celebrated like it was Champions League. I had no shame whatsoever. Right?
Nah, me too. I've got a
and-
picture on my wall. The celebration. It's like that. Yeah, it's a good time.
Move the camera quickly. See that thing on my door? As soon as we won it, I bought that straight away. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's straight away. And it's been there ever since, right?
Yeah.
But the thing about Mourinho's time, and what I'm going to compare it to Ole's thing is when Mourinho won those 2 trophies, and the next year he got second. We can all sit here, and I think it's fair to say that we didn't back him well in that next window when it was very important. When your team finishes second place and they've won trophies the season before, and they're really looking to push forward, and that year when we finished second, David De Gea was incredible, and Mourinho was screaming for defensive signings, and we didn't give him any, right? So because we didn't give him any, now I'm not gonna defend him here. He totally threw his toys out the pram. He played McTominay at centre back against West Ham. It's like it was self-sabotage, right?
Yeah.
But I think he was trying to make a point, and I think it's the point that all United fans have been trying to make for a long time, that board has not done enough to back their managers going forward.
Yeah.
Now Ole's coming, and maybe it might be something different about Ole. It might be his aura or something, but he's been allowed to make the changes. Sales have been made, chances have been made to bring in players year after year after year. He's done well so far. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But now, if we're going to be real, the pressure's on because you finished second, and then you got your signings. You got Jadon Sancho.
Yeah.
You got Raphael Varane. So this is where the pressure hits. This is where this divide of whether you're Ole in or Ole out, I think now it's stopping. You've got your signings. This is your third, or maybe your second full season, but your third year at the club as the manager. Right now, we're looking at you to deliver something because you went semi-final loss, final loss. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good for any manager.
And all these teams,
I agree. Yeah.
Bar like
It's not good
Chelsea.
for any manager. Exactly. It's not good for any manager in
It's
general.
not like big teams have been beating us.
Exactly.
I don't know. And talking about the final, I mean, we don't have to go into the retrospect of the final. I mean, obviously, it was a final after. It was Ole's first final. I guess Nurse played a big part, and I guess he fell into the Pep's overthinking trap in that match, and I think the game was pretty dull, and I think we could have easily won that match. I don't know. I guess there were some mistakes in terms of the lineup as well, which could have been avoided in that match itself, and could have.
Yeah.
How are you saying we could have won easily when you're playing against the king of the Europa League?
Villarreal played really well.
Manchester United to Villarreal. It's like comparing. It's like comparing, I don't know, England to Poland. Like, it's not the same. It's not the same. Like, it's two different levels.
So Chelsea is gonna play Villarreal soon, so we'll talk after that.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing them on Wednesday, so
Yeah.
If they lose, I might have to be a little bit shameless, but but funny enough, I don't think he overthink he did an overthinking thing like Pep. I think he didn't think enough. The substitutions were too late. These are things I don't want to complain about the final. What I'm saying is I want those mistakes to be coming out of his management. This season, I want to see proactive instead of reactive. I don't want to see United go 1-0 done. And he says, "Okay, now I need to make a change." I want it to be like, "Okay, you know what? Martial's not playing well. Let me make a change now. Rashford's not playing well. Let's take him off. Maguire looks like he's struggling. Let's take him off now." If it doesn't matter about the caliber of player, you can't be afraid to make these decisions. The game against Aston Villa years back when we came back and won it 3-2, I had no idea who Makeda was. But Alex Ferguson said, "You know what? This kid's going to come on. He's going to make a difference." And he scored the goal. Yeah. Sometimes you got to be brave with it. I don't think he was brave enough.
I just don't think football is like that anymore. It doesn't allow those kind of moments anymore. There's so much pressure on everyone.
It's so much pressure, but I think we'd all be forgiven if he made those changes to try and win the game rather than not make.
I can't believe he took off Greenwood, to be honest.
I mean, isn't that the case for? I mean, isn't that the case for everyone? I mean, we talk about Euros and like we talk about Southgate's tactics throughout the tournament, and then obviously when in the final it didn't pay off. All the mistakes which were being hidden at that point and were being overlooked started to just being pointed out at that point. I mean, right after the finals loss. So I mean, it's the same case for I guess every manager.
Like in my opinion, since Solskjaer's come in, like overall, I'd say he's been good. Like I'm not Ole out, I'm not Ole in. I'm just realistic. Like I like to think I'm like realistic with everything. And
you're content with his performances so far.
Like to an extent, but last season really disappointed me. And I remember when we went out of the Champions League really poorly. There was a time where we were literally top, it's so clear. Like we looked, comfortable. We should at least gone second place and been through, and then to lose it like that, it was honestly. I remember being my moment and sitting next to my dad and just telling him, you know what, Solskjaer really needs to sort himself out. He needs to sort out this whole team because he arguably, even before Sancho and Varane, before this transfer window, he still has been backed very well. He's got Bruno Fernandes, who's been arguably our best player since Fergie. Like I'd say he is probably. He's fantastic. He's been backed with a new centre back for 80 million, right back for 50 million. Daniel James, who he wanted. I mean, he's not the best player. I don't rate him personally, but 50 million is still a lot. And then who else was there? There's the big one. I can't remember. What was that? Was it Bruno?
And Van de Beek.
Van de Beek,
Cavani as well. Pardon?
He's Maguire's his signing, no? He came under his management.
Yeah, Maguire.
Maguire.
80 million.
No, I
80
think
million. Maguire was Ole's first, because Ole came in mid-season, and then season ended, and then Maguire came.
Yeah.
So Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, and Daniel James.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, if you look at it, he has been backed. Like, there's no question, and I feel like a lot of times it's been really disappointing for Solskjaer. And like, I know a lot of fans, a bit like you as well, when you were speaking, it's nothing to discredit you. You were saying, oh, but he's only beginning. You've got to be patient. You've got to have time. We are Manchester United, we ain't a club like, I don't know, like Tottenham or someone, that can accept mediocrity. Like, let's be honest.
I just knew you were going to North London.
But it's history of Tottenham, like Chiellini said. It's like that. But you see Manchester United, we're a big club, and I feel like we have been patient with Solskjaer. I feel like there's no question about that. But I feel like Solskjaer is just more of a manager he's just more than just a manager. He isn't just the manager of the football club. The stuff he's done behind the scenes, I feel like a lot of it is constructed by him. And I feel like he really understands the club. He was there when Fergie, was there, and he was there for a long time. He's always quite hardworking. He just seems like a really good person. And he's definitely put a lot of work into Manchester United. You see that the club has been run a bit more. But it's just like, for me, you get stuck in this dilemma now. It's like, all right, let's sack Solskjaer, get Conte in. Okay, it will be good for like 6-7 months. But then, what if that Mourinho phase starts happening again? The unhappiness. And it's like, with Solskjaer, you don't seem to ever get that. You seem like he is patient with himself, and he's quite realistic as well. And it's almost a bit too realistic to the point where us United fans, we don't really like to hear it. But he wasn't wrong when he's saying, we're still quite far from City, and, you've got to be patient and all this, because it is true. Manchester United at the moment, or especially a couple of years ago, I feel like they're getting closer now. We weren't close to these big teams, and I don't know. It's tough.
I mean, it's. I always give the example of Klopp. I think when he came to Liverpool, I think he was awesome. Like I
quite
can't
a similar
say that,
situation, to be honest.
But he was in a similar situation when
two
he
different
lost
managers.
Yeah, but when he was already a proven manager. He has already won leagues in Bundesliga. But when he came, he obviously had to, like, Liverpool had to give him time to adapt to the Premier League, and he lost that final against Sevilla in the Europa League. And then from there, he actually transformed the team. And then 2 years down the line, you see, or 3 years down the line, you see, like they were winning Champions League, they won the Premier League, and all that stuff. So it's obviously you have to give the time to the manager. Like, I don't see United. Obviously, as Kojo mentioned that people were so hungry about just getting that trophy or getting instant success that Mourinho was appointed, and we like, oh yeah, we won the Europa League. Now next year we are going to challenge for the Premier League, because second season for Mourinho in any club is like guaranteed trophy, right? So when you don't get that, then you feel like it's not working out. And then also the other thing, like that now I think this is his second full season, right? This Ole's second full season, right? I feel like, again, I feel like this is the season that we'll see that, you are you close enough to City or not? And then maybe that, one or two other additional signings that we need, when we get it next year, that's the time you can say that, yes, we are going to be winning the Premier League.
Realistic, like, objectives for Ole this season? Like not like something that would justify him, staying another year. Because I feel like personally, it's got to be quite high but realistic. Because
for me, he
can't
has
be
to be
any
in
more
the
given up,
he has to be in the contention of the Premier League title
Yeah,
come March.
yeah.
He has to be in the Premier League title contention.
It has to be
Then
about there.
he has to go to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, win at least one cup. That is my objective, and I can safely say, if I am on the United board, obviously, if I'm on the United board, I would say that this is a successful season, given the addition of the signings. Let's give you one more year. Let's give you a couple of additional signings that you need, and then let's win it. Let's win it in the 23
he's
season.
definitely backed by the club. They've given him a new contract.
Yeah.
They've given him
Yeah.
very good signings. So I feel like he is definitely here to stay. But it's just, for me, he needs to step it up a little bit, to say the least.
Yeah. I think he doesn't. He needs that little bit of spark under his butt. Until then, he doesn't. Until then, he doesn't really get it, because until there is speculation of him getting sacked, I don't see anything from him. So, which is something that we might see this year. So.
Yeah,
and I'm surprised. I mean, so far in the conversation, you have not mentioned your most flamboyant player. I mean, the most erratic player, which is Pogba. I mean, obviously, he is also one who needs to, who's in talks for a new contract, and he keeps on saying, I mean, he'll sign it. He doesn't want to sign it. It's like it's a very topsy-turvy news on that part. I mean, Kunal, do you think Pogba should? Do you want to renew Pogba's contract? Do you think?
I honestly don't know. I'm in two minds, but personally, I don't think he's going to sign a contract extension. It's very likely that he'll just run down his contract and leave for free. As things stands, he'll go to PSG, and with the arrival of Messi, the project of PSG, is just too attractive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
reports have come in that he is not ruled out on signing an extension, but until and unless United give him a bumper contract, which I'm against, I don't want him to stay just because he's going to earn a shitload of money, but I want him to stay because he believes that this club is going to win trophies. And if whether he stays or not, I genuinely believe United will win something.
Maybe
I
this
don't
season.
think I don't think he deserves this sort of big contract that's been mentioned. Personally,
No way.
He's a very good player and he's showing it, but he only really shows it for France personally, like at his top level. When it comes to Manchester United, you don't see the same Paul Pogba as often. And it's like it's just disappointing. I feel like for how much he cost, 90 million in those times as well, he was the biggest transfer at the time ever in the history of football. So, it's 4 years ago, it's changed a lot then. Now you get like Lukaku's going for 115 million and whatnot. So it has changed a lot. I just feel like Paul Pogba, he's been a bit disappointing in my opinion. And I feel like there's always a lot of problems around with him, and it's just like there's always a lot of hassle. I think his agent doesn't help that.
Oh,
yeah, and it's just like
just get rid of Mino Raiola, man.
I think with Pogba, I think the issue is, but firstly, I think it comes from two sides, just like it is with any top player. If they are underperforming, you have to scrutinize what they're doing, because there's been times when he's dropped absolute stinkers of a performance. Yeah. And then there's been other times where you can see that maybe he's trying to make things happen, he's trying to make up play, but we don't have the players with the, I call it minerals, to do what you want when you're going forward. I often complain about someone like Martial, who has all the physical abilities to just run past defenders and destroy them.
He's just wanting it,
just wanting to score goals, being crazy about scoring goals, but he doesn't do it enough.
100%.
He's using his booty like what's his name? Yaya Toure said about using his bum to get into players and all that, rather than just running in behind and being a killer. That's my worry about him. But at the same time with Pogba, I think it's like this. Number one, if from the player's perspective, I think now he recognizes he's 20 years old. This is probably his last chance to get one big contract. So he's thinking from that financial perspective, that might be the best thing for him to try and do. On the second hand, Mino Raiola, I've always said I don't listen to a damn thing that guy says, and I'll tell you why. When Zlatan Ibrahimovic was at Barcelona, 2 months into joining Barcelona, this guy came out and said with confidence that I'm going to try and get him to move to Real Madrid. You don't do things like that. You really just don't do things like that. It's not necessary. don't need to do that because you know what that's going to happen. You know what's on the course, yeah? So you don't need to do that. The last person that moved from Barcelona to Real Madrid in a high-profile move had a pig's head thrown at him on the pitch. You don't need to make that kind of noise. You don't need to do that.
100%.
But I think with Pogba, if I'm Pogba or if I'm someone that's close to Pogba, I'll say this. The reason I would urge you to sign a new contract is because, one, as a player, you want to be excited by the project that you're currently in. PSG's project is phenomenal. I understand that. But you came back to Man United to finish business. You have unfinished business. Do not leave here until you achieve what you came here to achieve. Secondly, they've signed Sancho, they signed Bruno Fernandes, they signed Raphael Varane. These are 3 big players that have joined your team. And they're saying they're not done in the window yet. That should convince you enough that the club is now trying to back their manager to push you guys on to win something. And number 4, finally, as a player, you need to now take control of your own destiny on the pitch and say, okay, you know what? I need to decide where I play best. I need to talk to Ole about where I play best because a lot of United fans are saying, stick him in the middle still. If you play him next to Bruno, it'll be fantastic. Get a defensive midfielder up on Matic there is great. But then last season on the left side, he had a very good spell playing on the wing for Man United. But when he went to the final, back into the middle, he didn't play well. So
I don't think you can play Pogba on the left side though.
Well, this is the problem.
When everyone's fit.
When everyone's fit, Rashford is, for me, it's the definite left wing star.
So the thing is, I mean, in France, I mean, I see that Kante is in the team as well when you talk about France, and you see Pogba being in the more attacking player, and you see the full potential.
International football is a lot different to like the Premier League, especially as well. I think.
Definitely.
You get a lot more freedom. I feel like Paul Pogba, he likes to play with freedom. As soon as he gets any sort of pressure, or someone's trying to press mark him, whatever like that, he finds it a lot harder. I feel like that's why he plays better in an attacking role where he has a bit more space and he's more of like the person taking charge rather than the guy getting pressed. And I feel like going with what Kojo said, like Paul Pogba, he's a very good player and all that, but I feel like personally, if you're him, what I would do is I'd actually wait another year. I wouldn't sign anything. I wouldn't, say anything. I'd concentrate on my football because ideally it makes sense. There's a lot of things going on at United that look like they're going in the right direction, but a lot can change in football. And I feel like especially now in football as well, like in a year, when we're here next time this year, United could either be looking like they're about to win the Premier League next season. They could have already won it. They could have already, won a cup. They could have already signed Haaland or whatever, another dream player that, starts to make Manchester United a bit of a big team. Like they are a big team, but, like in the sense that of signings of squad. Or we could be finishing, outside the top 4 and not Champions League. And then if you're Paul Pogba, Messi joining PSG as well, Neymar, Mbappe, where are all these players? Are they going to stay? They're going to go? Are they going to do well? Are PSG finally going to win a Champions League? There's a lot of whats, a lot of ifs. I feel like he should just settle down. He's not obviously going to leave this season, I think. So just settle down. Don't make much noise. Play your football. And come end of the season, just see what happens, That's personally what I would do.
Yeah. So I mean, and lastly, I mean, obviously, I guess you all have already answered that part, but you guys don't expect United to be in the title contenders this year, right? I mean, you do expect them to be in the contention, but not go for the title.
No.
You need to be in contention. I'm sorry, you have to be.
Yeah,
you have to be.
I agree.
Regardless of what the team you have to contend for the title.
When you've got Varane, Pogba, Bruno, Cavani,
there are no excuses now.
Rashford, Sancho,
you've got
Luke Shaw. Like you've got a challenge. 100%.
Agreed.
Worst teams have won the Premier League.
Okay, so I mean, I'll rephrase it. You expect them to be in the contention, but do you think they will win the title?
I'm not going to say.
You want to play down your expectations this time, right?
I've been playing down my expectations from the day David Moyes walked through the door, my friend.
To be fair, I made a tweet like a week ago with my my Premier League whole prediction, and I can't lie, I did have Manchester United at first. I had Man City at second. I had Chelsea at third, Liverpool at fourth. I know it's very biased, it's very controversial, but I feel like, there's nothing to say that we can't win it. I feel like it's not like last season where we looked
on,
wild.
on paper, you guys definitely have a strong team,
And I
you
feel like
should
we
be.
will make one more signing if it's the right signing. Hopefully it
Just
is.
just answer this. Just answer this one very quick question. Do you
Okay.
think City are going to win the title?
No.
Okay, that's
My
it.
heart-
That's all I want to hear, because I have my doubts as well. Like all
Yeah.
this crock going around, not having like Pep's gonna win and like having Grealish signed and all that stuff. I feel like they still need a number 9. If they don't
Yeah,
have
they,
it,
they, they completely.
don't even bother having City in the discussion as title favorites, because they're not
Yeah.
gonna win it.
Yeah, to be honest,
Yeah,
I don't think
it's
City
not
will
gonna
win the
happen.
Premier League.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
you can't have
it's a
seasons
lot
where
to ask.
you can't have two back-to-back seasons where you play without a number 9 and win the titles. It's going to be very unrealistic to expect that.
If they bought
Yeah.
Kane instead of Grealish,
Exactly.
they would win everything.
Yeah,
think.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can get 10 creative players in the team. If you don't have a striker to finish it off, yeah, you
Bruyne
cannot.
and Foden are injured as well.
Yeah, and with
And
City,
like-
you've seen they are ruthless. When they have a striker, they are ruthless. They will have at least 7 or 8 games in the season where they will score 5-6 goals, which we did not see last season. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it will
Sorry,
either be
sorry.
Chelsea or Man United. I feel like Liverpool could, but I feel like they're just getting worse and worse in terms of like the players their age, and they're not really replacing them. I feel like they're going to fall into a little bit of a trap that Man United fell in like 10 years ago or whatnot. When on paper they were a quality team, it's just, with age, everything came happening, and they're not really replacing their players. And then Robertson's got that injury now. Apparently, I don't know how long it's going to be for, but it did look
Looks terrible.
It looked serious. So yeah, hopefully United win it.
Yeah, I think
I'd say United,
yeah.
but with my head, I'm not too sure yet.
They definitely need a good start. With the fixtures they have, they can definitely accumulate a good number of points and get ahead on the points table. I think Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, Liverpool, everyone, City, they're all playing against each other in the first 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Everyone is bound to drop points. United have a golden opportunity, and I hope they're able to,
Well, if I
capitalize on this.
Yeah.
Can I just add one more question?
Yeah, true.
Now, for everyone here, let's have like a little sort of debate. Say everyone's fit in the Manchester United squad, right? And we're going against Leeds, first game of the season. Now, obviously, everyone's fit, so forget Henderson being out, forget Rashford being out. Just forget that's even against Leeds. Just say for this whole season, our strongest squad, who would you play? Start from the goalkeeper all the way to striker.
Ooh,
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll start with this. I'll play David De Gea with Varane, Maguire at the back, with Luke Shaw, Van Bissaka,
Okay.
Pogba, Bruno, and Scott McTominay, with Rashford on the left, Cavani up front, Bruno I've already said. With right wing, I'll go with Sancho. So this will be my starting 11.
Okay, cool. Kojo?
Oh,
Whoever feels
go
free
ahead,
to
go ahead.
go.
Yeah, go ahead.
In Canal's team, the only person that changed is Scott McTominay. I'd put Matic in there just because I trust him more defensively. Other than that, I wholeheartedly agree, and I'm so happy that you did not say Martial.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Cavani hands down.
I am happy to. Yeah, and I feel like I would only change. I would put McTominay, but I wouldn't put David De Gea in goal. I feel like Dean Henderson is the way to go forward. I really don't think David De Gea is.
I agree.
Yeah.
the way to play.
Yeah, I think Henderson should be at the goal, and I mean, I guess Matic and McTominay. I mean, it could go either way. I mean, you can play both of them. I mean, you can play either of them, and I think it would still be a good defensive player in that position.
Yeah, like I agree. Dean Henderson for me, I don't know if he's the better goalkeeper, but he looks good. He's young. At times he looks unreal, like genuinely top notch. And I feel like we've got to do the same thing we did with De Gea. Just give him the trust. I feel like at his age, he's a much better goalkeeper than what De Gea was, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe not age, but same situation. There was a lot of questions, but we trusted him, and I feel like Dean Henderson's a bit more of a safer option back then when De Gea was.
Yeah.
I feel like the back line pretty much picks itself. Like after that,
I don't think we can have another season where David De Gea and Dean Henderson splits their games. I think Dean Henderson started somewhere close to 26 games last season. Like,
I wonder
don't
what's
think
going to
that's
happen
something
there
that
as well.
should happen.
I feel like De Gea will be happy to stay again, even if he sat on the bench, to be honest, because no other team can really afford him. He's getting paid the most in the whole club. You've got to remember that. So I don't think De Gea would mind it too much to just play cup games and stuff like that. I feel like he'll be fine with that. But obviously, he's also going to be starting the Premier League season. I feel like if he starts really well, prime De Gea, like the De Gea we all know, I feel like it'll be hard to drop him.
Yeah.
And then, I agree with Cavani over Martial as well. I'm not the biggest Martial fan, and each time I watch him, I just feel like there's so much more he could do. As a player, I feel like he's not. I don't know. Last season and a bit, he's just not being himself. And then Cavani's just. I love that. I love Cavani. Like he is a great striker. I wish we just had him a little younger. 100%. Everything about Cavani, the long hair, how majestic he is. He's some sort of like Greek god. Like he's just the celebrations he does, the goals he scores. Everything about him is just unreal. It gives me proper Ibrahimovic vibes when Ibrahimovic came. It's very similar to that, and I loved Ibrahimovic. Yeah. And then with the midfield, I feel like Percy, for me, I'd rather play Fred with Pogba than McTominay with Pogba. I feel like it's more balanced. Percy, for me. I feel like Pogba's very similar to McTominay's, like a very more how he plays and how he likes to play. It's very more towards Pogba, whereas Fred's quite more simplistic with his play. He does the small pass, and I feel like he's better defensively as well. He's a bit more like he likes to be a bit more disciplined, whereas McTominay's more attacking minded. Percy.
That's true.
But yeah, it's still a very good squad.
Yeah, and just just to sign off, I have a fun question for you guys. Right now, I mean, we have like huge centre backs in the Premier League right now. So who do you think has the best centre back pairing at this stage? Do you think it's Liverpool, City, or United? I mean, Liverpool has Van Dijk and Konate. You have Stones, Diaz at City, and now you have Varane and Maguire at United. So I mean, all are like only one pairing we've seen so far. But like on paper, do you think who is best? Who is the best pairing right now?
I think So go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
Honestly, I think Chelsea play with the back three. So I don't know if you could call that a pair, but they would have the three best centre backs chemistry wise. I would say with Jules Koundé probably coming in, I don't see any other team having a better defensive line than them.
I'm not gonna say anything on that.
No, that's how they won the Champions League. That's how they kept on improving under Tuchel, and I don't expect anything less than them. They have been outstanding when it comes to the defensive part.
For me, I feel Chelsea the bottom of all that.
That's why I didn't mention Chelsea. I'm asking between Liverpool, City, and United.
Yeah.
So
I don't think Chelsea get anywhere near that. I mean, it's good, but look at Liverpool, look at United. I feel like City is getting there as well, but I feel like Percy, if you're thinking to just pick like players that are reliable and players that are proven and you feel like they could be really good together, I feel like Maguire and Varane is probably the best one. You've got Maguire, who had a fantastic Euro, arguably the best centre back in that whole tournament. Mm-hmm. He's only getting better. I feel like he got unnecessary hate throughout his Manchester United career, and I think only now he's really starting to get the respect that he deserves. He's my captain. Yeah. I love Harry Maguire, and 100% I'll stick with Harry Maguire and a 4 times Champions League winner, Raphael Varane, who's known across all of football as one of the best defenders. Played with Ramos, always kept up to his level. I feel like that partnership is probably the best, because for me, Van Dijk is the best centre back in world football at the moment, but Konate, it's not really proven in my opinion. So I feel like that's the only reason why he does it. If Konate comes in and is a very good player, very solid, I think Liverpool takes it personally. But yeah, that's for me.
Yeah.
I would go with Raphael, Varane, and Maguire. I'll be honest, I didn't want Maguire in the first place when he came to United. I wasn't convinced by him at Leicester. It wasn't anything to do with the fee. I just wasn't convinced by him. But last season, it was very, very good. And the Euros, like Ollie said, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And Varane, I had said from 2016 to 2018, he was at an incredible level. His level was insane. Obviously, they won 3 Champions Leagues, but he wasn't just like Nacho Fernandez. He wasn't just a bit part player. He was next to Sergio Ramos, running the show at the back. With Casemiro just ahead of them. It was fantastic. I think he had a bit of a dip in form in the last 2 years, but it's a new start. It's a new place.
I feel like that just came with Real Madrid, though. Really, I feel like the club in
they
general, had a bit of a dip.
That's true.
So
It would be interesting to see his partnership with Maguire. He has been excellent with Ramos, but when Ramos wasn't there, he was exposed a little bit at times. So it will be interesting to see Varane right now.
I'll say, look, if when they start together, it might even be against Leeds on the weekend. When they start together, United fans have patience. If it doesn't work straight away, don't ask any questions and be like, it don't work.
Oh yeah, exactly.
They take time. They take time.
Yeah, it's going to take time, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like
when Patrick Evra joined our back line and went left back for the first 2 or 3 games, he was absolutely disgraceful. He was shocking, and then out of nowhere, he became the best left back we've seen in the Premier League.
Plus, he's proven Varane. Like, you can't actually question it until it goes like a full season and he's scoring like Phil Jones style own goals. Okay, then you got questions. But until then, you genuinely can't. Like, you can't go without him. Like.
Exactly. And as for Konate, look, I have an issue with defenders from the Bundesliga. Like, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be so real with you guys right now. I was so happy that we did not go anywhere near Upamecano. Let him go to Bayern Munich. If he becomes a good defender there, that's fine. They're the best club by a mile in that league because they're the only team in that league that can defend. Everyone else, I really prefer not to speak.
Yeah.
So, Konate, 1, he's injury prone. 2, he does have a mistake in him because they play dangerously high lines in the Bundesliga. So here it comes to the Premier League playing a different style of different teams play different styles. Your Burnleys, your West Hams. I don't know how he's going to deal with it. No doubt he's going to have some fantastic.
But I guess
try and write him off. I don't know.
But with Klopp, I think he knows how to. Maybe he'll know how to handle him because he also knows how Bundesliga is played. So maybe he can make him adapt a little bit easier. It's not going to be that difficult for him to adapt as well.
Maybe I saw
a
comment.
I'm good
on one of the from one of the subscribers, I think, and it said, "How can you say that Maguire and Varane, are the best partnership when they haven't even played together?" And he's got a point, but I feel like if you're talking with sense, obviously, best partnership it's Jones and Diaz because Stones and Diaz. They were really good as well last season.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like John Stones is overrated. I feel like he's very overrated personally. I feel like Diaz is really good. But even then, he's not proven yet.
And he had a good season, John Stones, but we're talking about on paper right now, so I think that's why people are going. Yeah, exactly. It's on paper, 100%. So
on paper. But I feel like I'm a little iffy. Like I can't agree with Kojo where he said United had the best centre back, and on paper, yes, as you said, it does feel. It does feel, like they have the best centre back pairing. But I've had my doubts about Varane because, as Kunal even mentioned, like when Ramos wasn't there, and even with France, like you can see there is a hole in his game where you can see that he's not the best ever centre back to have played. Like he developed under Ramos, but I would have to say Liverpool centre back has to be the best centre back pairing at this moment of time. And I had a brilliant discussion with Liverpool fans last week about the center, like who is the best centre back pairing in their team itself. Like they kind of agreed. They kind of gave me the answer saying Liverpool have Van Dijk and Joe Matip as their best central defender because even I feel like Konate and Van Dijk and
Gomez, you've got Joe Gomez as well.
Yes. Yeah. They said Joe Matip and Van Dijk is their best centre back pair to go forward. I'm agreeing with that. I'm agreeing with that just because Konate again hasn't played a single minute in the Premier League. I can agree with that, saying that yes, Matip and Van Dijk will be probably their best centre back pair. I don't think but just sorry, one more point is that I don't really agree with City fans saying that they have the best center back pairing just because Stones was at a brief period of time he was really really good with Diaz, but then he made a lot of mistakes towards the end part of the season. And as Ollie mentioned, like he's definitely overrated. I don't see him performing at that same level for the 38 games that he's going to play. Obviously,
Yeah.
Pep roulettes come into play. He's not going to play 38 games definitely,
Yeah,
but
yeah, go
go ahead.
on. You
Yeah,
finish, you finish.
But
yeah, sorry, yeah,
go
if
ahead.
Just
if
me.
Laporte didn't have that transfer thing going on in his mind, his position in City is a little uncertain right now, whether he'll be here or he's going to Barca or wherever. If Laporte was, committed to the club right now, it would be Laporte and Ruben Diaz starting for City,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Laporte is overrated.
You could say that to a certain extent, but
I'm just saying.
on the ball,
Possible.
he is very good. Yeah, I'm talking
He's
about centre back pairings. He's good.
He is
Let's
good.
Talking
yeah,
about
let's
centre back pairings, they're good.
I
so
always said to my
That's
City
something,
friends, if
me personally.
you swapped John Stones with Maguire, you'd
Oh yeah.
see why John Stones is a bit overrated, in my opinion.
Kojo, I have one request for you. Every time these three teams are playing in the week, and every time there's a mistake from either one of them, just make sure that this is the reference point. Keep commenting here. Keep commenting here, and just telling like, hey, what did I tell you guys? Varane and
I hope
Maguire
he's
is the
right.
best center back pair.
Yeah.
I guess yeah. Let's wrap this up and thank you so much, Kojo, Ollie, Kunal, for joining us on this podcast. You can follow them on their Twitter handles. I'll mention them in the description below in the video. Thank you so much, guys. Definitely would like to catch up with you guys once again when we are when hopefully United is in the title contention. I, as a Chelsea fan,
100%,
also
yeah.
want United to come back into the title contention. I've been waiting for that. Just to let you guys know, we have our Fantasy Premier League code mentioned right on the screen over here. Do sign up for that. Whoever is interested in the Fantasy Premier League, we are also coming up with a very exciting segment where we will be discussing about the FPL teams in the come Tuesday and Wednesday. So do join us and listen to that as well. So thank you so much, and do remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, and good night.
All right, thank you.
Good night.
All right, good night. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Take care.
Yeah.